Good afternoon. It's Celeste of Astrology by Celeste. Yes, it is on this beautiful Friday. Oh, I'm just kind of still getting myself together, running around like a crazy person. I'm so excited to be talking to JeMaja today, and I see you there. Let me add you to the live. So excited. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, there you go.
Yay!
I said, I'm so used to starting these things, Celeste, that I didn't know how to join. See?
Ah,
So,
okay.
yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Well, I was able to invite you, but you also, if you just so you know, you can push that little camera thing at the bottom.
The bottom.
At the
Okay.
bottom is a way you can join people. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Yes, I'm having a great day so far.
I had to
Yeah.
laugh
So
at you because I saw your post earlier and you said you had a crazy Monday, right? You had yes. So and I said, well, now you know how I felt last week.
mhm.
now, now you know.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know if it was the Pisces, the sun going into Pisces or what, but Pisces energy just has me drifting and flowing and yeah,
Yeah, it
going
is very
into.
oceanic. It is very nebulous.
Mhm,
Yeah, yeah. So it's swimmy. We're in the high seas. We're in the high seas.
mhm. Yeah. So I want you to introduce yourself to anyone who is new to you.
Okay, I'd be happy to. And first thing I want to say, I always like to honor. We'll be talking about things that have come from extraordinarily sacred ancestral lineages. So I always like to honor those lineages and those indigenous peoples who contributed to this body of work that we all practice and love and use. So I always like to give thanks and acknowledge them before I begin. So having done that, I can introduce myself as JeMaja the Alchemist, and I'll explain why I call myself that also. But I'm a retired executive, a lover of metaphysics since I can remember what metaphysics, before I even knew what metaphysics actually existed and what it means. And I do esoteric healing. I do energy work, Reiki. I am a spiritual coach and personal guidance coach, transformational guidance coach. And I'm also that person that people call when they just need someone to get started, when they know they're on their journey but they may be off path a little bit. We all know when that is and how that feels. So who do you reach out to when that happens? How do you know, okay, I'm at a place in my life where there's a fork in the road or the check engine light is flashing? You know, everyone has a check engine light in their spirit that flashes sometimes. Who do you talk to get that fixed?
I love that. You help people with their check engine lights.
Because we know what that feels like when it starts flashing
Mhm,
and we ignore it for weeks. We ignore it for weeks, but it keeps on flashing and it gets brighter and brighter.
mhm.
And right now, Celeste, the conversation that we're having, and many of us are having, who are in this business, is so important because Pluto, I don't know about you, but Pluto did a number on me, and it's done a number on all of us. It's getting us to the next phase, like the Isley brothers said. The next take me to the next phase, baby. But
Mhm.
getting to the next phase takes some work because we're actually deconstructing the old phase and building the new phase at the same time, and still having to live our lives and be effective in our community and our home life, our love life, and everything else. And that can be challenging. And no, that can be. It often is challenging. So I try to offer work that my goal, and I believe the reason why I'm on the planet, is to help people be that bridge, to help them like a Sherpa. I guide people and get them on the right path, empower them with skills and some information that they can use on their own, teach them things, and then they could then find and walk their journey confidently and comfortably.
I love that. Yes, and it is. So Pluto went into Aquarius for part of the year last year, but when
Yes,
it went back into Aquarius January
yes,
20th, we're in a whole different phase of that because over the last couple of weeks, first Mercury, then Mars, then Venus met Pluto. And when the inner planets meet the outer
yes.
planets, that's when a lot of stuff comes up to our
It
conscious
surely
awareness.
does. Yes, yes.
I have been having, and Pluto brings things up to our attention and
Yeah, yeah,
unearths things in order for us to be aware of them. And they're often shadows of our
yes,
sides of our
yes, yes.
personality in order
Right.
to be healed. So
Yes.
I have been having
You
like these epiphanies
don't
left,
think you're
right.
special. Me too. I mean, I had a house full last week. I mean, I knew that when those inner planets were coming in and meeting Pluto, I could feel it. It was visceral. And
Mhm.
it meant sleep disruption. It meant just you could feel like I was talking to Sebastian of Boy Beads, and he feels like the rug was being pulled out from underneath you. You couldn't find any sure footing, you know.
Mm.
And stuff. So either very spacey, all of those things were happening, and those are also, I think, symptoms of our ascension. Because not only are we as a country going through a Pluto return, it impacts us on the individual level, and and the Earth also. We forget Mother Earth is also saying, hey, look, I'm going through a change also. I'm going through my change. So all of us are going through this
Mm.
tumultuous transformational period together. And let's face it, this is the first time we don't have a book on this. We don't have a guidebook for this, really. So thank goodness to the astrologers and the mundane astrologers and show-offs like you who do mundane personal astrology, horary astrology. You do like 3-4 kinds of astrology.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? So you're fabulous, and your spirit and your abilities help guide us through. So we have that touch point to say, is it me going crazy? And you could say, no, not necessarily. It's the cosmos is involved,
Mhm.
and it's conspiring with us to change and to grow.
Yeah, this is a time of, and it's uncomfortable growth
Mm.
spurts that we're having. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. But
mm,
it takes that to get. I know. Let me speak for myself. It takes that to get me moving. I have
mhm,
to be uncomfortable to do certain things. But for those who you don't know, Celeste and I had a session, but a few weeks ago. Was it early part of February
mhm. It
or late?
was a few weeks
And,
ago. Yeah.
and it was and Celeste. Let me say, Celeste, you have a gift with revealing someone's chart and the different facets. And then you bring that cosmic coaching. And then she starts saying, now you can do this, and you should be doing this, and you could do this. And I love that because it's gentle, but you were very clear that, in your role and how to use what you give. Getting a
Mm.
session, astrology session is wonderful, but now how do I use this?
Mhm. Well, I'm a Taurus, so I like to give practical,
Oh, of course you do.
step by step
Yes,
stuff in order
yes,
to help people. Yeah,
yeah,
where
yes,
they are on their journey.
yeah.
Hmm.
I use astrology even before I became. I'm nowhere near the level of astrologer that you are. It won't be this life, I imagine. But I've always used it in my healing practice.
Hmm.
Even I hate to say, but even I hate to say, but let me be honest. I use it in my corporate practice, if you will, because I would try to get a feel for someone, where they're coming from.
Hmm.
And then the major value came in when I learned about the Saturn returns, the Chiron returns. I could see where they are, what's going on in their chart to help me see what aspects, what transits they may have. If someone's having a Pluto, going over their moon transit, that's tough. They may
That's.
be calling out for a while. They may be calling out from work here and there, and other things.
Mhm.
Um, and Saturn returns. I've had two. So and number three is running up on me, but I've had two for sure, and they're not easy. But when you understand what's going on someone's chart, I have a better ability in knowing where to reach them, where to meet them, because that
Mhm.
is, I see the chart. The saying people say, oh, babies don't come with an operating manual. I said, yes, they do. It's called your natal
Yeah,
chart. It's
exactly.
it's your natal chart,
It
and
is your operating
right,
manual.
yeah, and it's yes, it's complex, just like the MS DOS manuals that we get for our computers. But when you have people like you to help you interpret them, and then you have people like me could help you. Then okay, so let's say okay, so here's how we get you. You know what I mean? And here's how we get to that road and get you on your path, and you sustain that journey more
Mhm.
comfortably,
Mhm.
and understand how to deal with the bumps in the road, because there will be bumps in the road. you know you will run out of gas sometimes. That
Yeah.
transmission may give way, and you have to pull over and get it repaired. And what do you do when that happens?
Yeah, and knowing your chart can help you be aware of when
Good.
these times are coming up.
Yes.
and what is
Yes.
going to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
and what is going to be happening. And yeah, the Saturn return is no
No
joke.
joke.
It happens at 29:58-ish,
58. Yeah, 58
and
ish.
then whatever that the late 80s, I guess, is the last. Well, not
Yeah.
the third one,
The third one.
but
Yeah.
we are tested.
Right.
We come up against obstacles, and we have
Absolutely.
to mature, and
Yes.
we have to
Put away those
take
childish
put
things.
away, yes, put away childish things.
Yeah.
And yeah, it can be a time of amazing earned success
Yes.
and growth,
And
but it
growth.
also, for everyone, there's like some nature of the challenges around it.
Yeah. I remember when I went through my first one, let me see. I think I had had my first natal chart done by then. Actually, my first Reiki master did my chart. She cast the chart by hand. You know,
Ooh.
yes, yes, she cast the chart by hand. And so, when I came to see her, she showed me what she did and how she drew the chart. And that's why I said, okay, maybe astrology is not for me, because doing that by hand, I mean, doing all the calculations, that's the no joke astrology. That's
I
like,
can't even. I mean, I know how to do it.
you see,
Well,
I know you know how to do it. No, no,
it's no
no
joke.
joke.
It's too hard.
Yes.
It takes too
Yeah.
much time.
But the art and the craft of that, it's, to me, I say it's an art, craft, and a science. I don't care what anybody else says about it. It is to do that. And the very knowledge that I found out when studying astrology. I'm moving to whole house, by the way.
Oh,
I'm moving. Yes, I'm leaving Placidus and moving to a whole
why?
house. Well, I gotta say, I signed up for a course. I didn't know it was whole house astrology. So I was like, well, but I it's okay. I mean, I'm comfortable with Placidus,
Okay.
of course. But with Placidus, you don't have intersected houses. It's very simple. This house, every house is the same. So in another session, you and I have to talk about the differences and so on. So again, I'm using it in a different way than you use it. I use it I think it may be easy for someone like me who intuitively reads astrological charts. I mean, I read them, but I do lean equally on my intuitive abilities in interpretation and understanding someone's chart. So I said, well, maybe whole house may be something to consider,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever it takes for you to unlock their personality. And I feel like we all have a conversation with the universe.
Yes.
And the consciousness source, whatever you want to call God.
Right.
And that whatever house system we use, we can have tools to enter into it.
Right.
And if your intuition is sparked by understanding just the signs and the aspects, and you don't need, because when you use a quadrant house-based system, you have the cusp of the house, which one of my teachers, Wade Caves, talks about the cusp, or the heartbeat of the house. So that adds a different layer, but you don't need it in order to help someone and understand and guide their path.
Right.
Whole house is one, Renee over two. Yeah, a lot of people I mean, whatever works for you.
For me, it was sort of, I mean, I was aware of it, of course, but I've been studying off and on with what's her name? I can't remember her name now. She's Australian.
Kelly Surtees?
Yes. Yes. So I took classes here and there. I have a few of her. So finally, she said, I'm offering this full program, and I'll apply those courses that you've already paid for and signed up for. They can apply to the whole program. So I said, sure. And I remember starting earlier on, and I think it was right before COVID. And then I got sidetracked doing more of my metaphysical studies. And we also got to the dispositors. And I was like, you know what? That's just way, it was just, that's, astrology is, for those of you who aren't at Celeste level and applying yourself, approaching that, astrology is, it's such a body of knowledge that I could have started 70 years ago and I still would I would be behind. So it's just a wonderful thing. You get lost in how much there is to learn and use in astrology, so.
Well, you should know your chart ruler.
Yes.
The planet that disposits your first house, because that speaks to your physical body, your
Saturn.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it rules your whole
Chart.
chart, and when
Yes.
it's being aspected, even in the sky,
Hmm.
it's good for you to know what's going on, especially if it's a difficult aspect. What I forget, what is your rising sign?
Capricorn.
Capricorn. Oh yeah, so Saturn
Yes.
is your
My
chart
chart.
dispositor, and
Yes.
so on February 28th, that's
Okay.
next Wednesday, the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn are all going to meet at 9 degrees of Pisces. And this can be very important for some people
Hmm.
because the sun spotlights things and focus you in
Right.
on. And because Saturn's your chart
Yes.
ruler, it could have something to do with your identity
Mm.
or the other houses Saturn rules in your chart. Like if you have Aquarius on your second house cusp, there could be a money story because Saturn rules Aquarius and Capricorn. And then Mercury are thought processes.
Yes.
So you can make decisions that
Hmm.
or get clarity about
Right.
things. Be really careful about any kind of because it's in
Sun.
Pisces, which can be about deception, clicking
Yes.
on any links or doing anything
That's
like that,
right.
because that can be like, boom, the hammer comes down and, oh, I'm hacked,
Yes.
kind of stuff.
But so interesting. I think mine happened already a little bit. I got a fraud call from my bank, and I realized a lovely young woman today helped me out, Diane, and she said, you've had this charge that's been repeating every month. So they put in the claim form. Yes, one of Amazon. I said, oh no, that's probably me. And then I looked. I said, no, I haven't had that same amount every month. So they had, yes. So I couldn't go down today, but they had to cancel my card. I got to go get another card. So
And that
and
happened
I do recall you
today
today.
when Mercury went into Pisces, letting you
Yes.
know something about,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Hmm.
Yes. So I said, yeah, and that's why I need to, replay. You have to actually replay a chart session so you can put the coordinates on your calendar to say, oh, just to be aware of this. Maybe here are the energies that are influencing me right now.
Hmm.
That I may be
So,
running up against. Yeah.
yeah, well, hopefully maybe that Sun, Saturn, Mercury will be when you have this
Right.
resolved. But I want you to really pay attention to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what's coming to your conscious awareness about your identity, your vitality, your personal income sources, and all of that kind of stuff. With
Okay.
and whatever house Mercury rules, your Gemini and your Virgo houses. See what's going on
What's
there
going
as
on
well.
there? Okay.
Hmm.
That's,
Yeah, just those topics, something may be
yes.
coming up. And this is
Uh,
for everyone, but it's especially important for JeMaja because she's a Capricorn rising. So
yes.
also important, next Wednesday is really important for Gemini risings as well as Virgo risings and Aquarius risings
Okay.
and Leo, because those that combo is all meeting in the sky.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's a rebirth of Saturn, and it's the first time the Sun and Saturn will meet in the sign of Pisces in 29 years or whatever, or 20 some years.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, we've had a lot of those recently, Celeste. I'd say the last year
We
we've had a lot of those. First time in 40 years, or again, it's and that speaks to the change that we're going through, the monumental change. That um, we're seeing a sunsetting, if you will, and maybe a not so graceful conclusion of a previous age that we operate or previous operating system that's now trying to close down, but it's fighting because that's how you go back to your office and they try to upgrade you to another the latest Windows and you hate it because you don't know it, so you have another programming coming in and you're still operating the existing programming, and there's so many good tips and so many new techniques and so many benefits to the new program, but we don't know it yet, and that creates fear because of the uncertainty
mm-hmm.
in all our lives, and we have so many things changing. There's not just one thing changing, as you know, Celeste. It's impacting everything
It's
in our lives.
really destabilizing. Like that AT&T outage, I think that's
Yes,
just the
I
beginning of
think
what's to come.
so. I know. I saw your post. I like when you do that, when you say this happened and that's what planet. I was like, oh, this is great because you always interpret it for us in very easy, very accessible language. We appreciate that. Yeah,
Oh, thank you. I'm
yeah,
glad you like it.
yeah. That
Yeah,
was great.
I love the threads. It's really helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I think what you're saying is so important about like we are on the precipice of this this monumental evolutionary change. Like Pluto moves at the speed of a glacier, but has the
Yes.
impact of a tsunami. And Aquarius is the sign of the collective, of
Yes.
people, of
Yeah.
scientific
And-
advancements, of authoritarian control. Yeah, it's like power to the people or power from the
Oh, I
people.
see.
It's like this,
Okay.
and we're dancing back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn.
Yes.
Pluto's going
Yes.
to
Yeah.
dip back up in Capricorn,
In
and that's the
September.
power of
Yeah.
governments. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
September 1st, I think,
Mm-hmm.
through November 19th for the
Mm-hmm.
election.
You're right.
Governments and hold on to your hat or it's like I feel so strongly the what is that? The Handmaid's Tale energy with
Yes. Oh, don't get me started with that. Yes.
well, the
Yeah.
IVF thing.
Yes,
Hopefully
the
that will
IVF
be the
thing.
last nail in the Republicans' coffin.
Oh, no. I know.
The IVF,
I know.
the embryo is a
It's,
child, and someone who is infertile now, in Alabama may not be able to have any kind of treatments because of these people. Just we wait.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
want birth control.
Yes.
That's what their ultimate
Yeah.
goal is. They want
Well,
to
this
make
they want
birth
control,
control illegal.
control. Yes, control. And I
Hmm.
think because correct me if I'm wrong. Um, uh, Aquarius is ruled by has two rulers. It has Uranus and Saturn, right?
Hmm.
So
Saturn traditionally, Uranus in modern
in
astrology.
modern astrology.
Hmm.
So that's and looking at those two, so even those two have they're very powerful influencers and not necessarily play well together. They can, but they not
They're
really.
opposite principles. Like
Yes,
Saturn is the
yes,
structure.
yes.
It's that hierarchical, like Capricorn is that hierarchical energy. Uranus is the revolutionary.
Yes.
It sees the structure
Mm-hmm.
and wants to make it better.
Right.
Yeah, and if it has to
Blow
break
it up.
it in order to make
If
it better, then it'll
yes,
break it in order to
yes,
make it
yeah,
better. Yeah.
yeah.
So
The
it's
revolution
just
will be televised. I think.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so beautiful, like astrology, how it's preparing us. The
Yes.
cosmos are preparing us with
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
Saturn and Uranus is square. Now we have Pluto answering to Uranus, and then
Mm-hmm.
next year we're having Neptune
Oh no.
and well, over the next 2 years, Neptune and
Okay.
Uranus are going to change signs as well. It's going to be undergoing some massive
You know,
changes.
and we are. And right now, what else I use in my practice and for myself are the nodes and Chiron.
Hmm.
Chiron. Chiron for me, especially for the work I do, the wounded healer. I need to know where a person's coming from, where their original wounding is, or because that's where you perhaps have the most to learn and to teach and gain from in this lifetime. And I understand that the North Node, Chiron's going to conjunct the North Node.
Chiron and the North Node were conjunct on Monday. In the
Okay.
sign of Aries. It was at
Aries.
16
Yeah.
degrees of Aries, and at the solar eclipse on April 8th, Chiron is conjunct the sun and the moon. So it's essentially being eclipsed.
Ay, 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 interesting.
So it's a
Okay.
great time for doing some deep healing. And
Yes.
what kind of tools do you use with your healing? I think you do pendulums,
Oh
right?
yes. And so funny you should mention one of my. I know some of my other pendulums will get jealous because they're not making the show, but I use definitely use pendulums. And people don't realize pendulums can be used for yes or no answers, but much more than that. I use pendulum in my alchemy work because it's a tool that can, with my intention and focus, it can also work on the energy to actually influence things in the highest and best for all involved. So if I'm working with someone, for example, a couple of ways. I could be having a conversation with someone, and I have my pendulum here, and I'm listening to you talk, but I'm asking questions like, so that could be a good move for Celeste to do that, and I can feel it moving, yes or no, and I'm getting the feel for that. So I'm getting vibrations. It's coming through me, and it's making makes my body move, but it shows up in the pendulum much easier. Because of
Ooh,
it. Isn't it a beauty? This
that
one,
is
this one
beautiful.
is actually called The Alchemist. So of course I had to have it. But yes, because I got certified in pendulum alchemy last year. Yeah, it was last year, I believe. No, wait. what year is this? 2024. Yeah, October 2023. I took a wonderful course, and because I've always used pendulums, and using energy, using natural energies and energies that we have, is we all have the ability to use them, but it's also beneficial to get training in it so you can use it more effectively and efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been buying pendulums from him for years. Took an off course here and there, and I liked his personality, loved his coursework. So finally I said, okay, let me commit and add this to my my offerings. And it's been invaluable because I use it not only for I'd say mundane things like should I go shopping today or whatever else, but for client work. So now I could do it group work. Say we're having issues with say you're having a challenging transit. Oftentimes I think we have a challenging transit. One, it's just challenging, but two, it's because the transit is having a certain vibration and frequency, and we're at another frequency. So they need to be harmonized so that at least we can understand that we're speaking the same language, or we can understand energetically what's happening. But if it's too discordant or too missing one another, you can't feel it. So it does feel harsh. You do feel like you're not hearing or not getting it, or it's not getting you. But I use the pendulum to take those energies and make them work together.
Oh, I want us to make Mars and Venus work together. So, but before that, you're going to get a lot of nice comments about the pendulum. Yasmina wants to know, can we purchase them, and do you make them, or what?
No, I don't make
recommend these for people?
You can go to a site, Pendulum Alchemy. His name is Eric Hunter. But go to, I think if you just go to Pendulum Alchemy, www.pendulumalchemy.com. And
he does
training. You could take one class, two classes, whatever. You can all get the whole certification, and he does sell pendulums. He sells high quality pendulums because he makes them to, of course, certain specifications, but they interact with the light or the visible and non-visible light forms certain ways. So that's why they're very pretty, but they are designed to help you direct energy. Some of them are more receptive, so you're more sensitive. So when you're doing a yes or no, you're brand new at divination. It really picks up faster. But yeah, so I definitely I highly recommend them to everyone everyone should have a basic pendulum in their home, or they use any of us who do this light work should have a basic. It doesn't have to be a fancy one, or expensive one. It just has something to. Let me see if I have one here. It's not so. I think I brought out my fancy pansies today, but okay. It's something else I use. Let's see. Did you want to say more about divination? I do cards. I mean, I do oracle cards mostly.
Me too.
I love oracle cards.
Me too.
There's one deck that I find I use more than others, and I forgot who this one is by. It's not Colette Baron Reed, but similar to that. But they say they don't have any. They only have a very small amount of writing on them, but the visuals are amazing. The visuals are. So I'm better at looking at the visuals. And let me tell you how I came about this from a British medium by the name of Tony Stockwell. And I was in his class at the Omega Institute. And he spread the cards out, and we each had to take one card. And then we paired up. And only looking at the card, we could look at the person, only looking at this card. Let's say here's a good example. Here's a card. Looking at a card.
You see an owl.
You see an owl? Okay. You see an owl. I don't know what it is. It looks very spaceshipy to me or something. But anyhow, you look at the card, and the person was here, and you start talking to them about whatever's going on in their life, whatever you see or feel. But don't look at them. Because when we look at people, sometimes we then sort of like draw conclusions, or you watch their face. Oh, they're not happy about that, so I won't say that. Now, let me tell you about my experience. The woman who got my card, she said, I didn't know her from Adam or Eve. She said things to me about me and what I was going through at the time that floored me. She was like, what? Oh, she said, oh, JeMaja, you got, she said, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I was speechless. But again, we didn't look at one another until after we both read one another, because we just focused on look at this beautiful image.
Ooh.
Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that
Yeah, that
lovely?
looks like an angel. Well, for the other one, people saw an
And,
angel, a broom. Yeah,
okay.
lots of people saw a
A
broom with the
broom.
first one. Then I
Yeah.
saw the owl. I felt like that was something about wisdom and the wisdom you're
Ah,
sharing with us.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, and I used to doubt myself for using oracle cards. So I would only bring them out when I would go to those retreats. And I was in a hallway, someplace in a suburb of Boston, and I was doing. A friend of mine said, "Will you do my cards?" I said, "Sure, sure, okay. Let's meet during break, and I'll do cards with you." I laid out a few cards, and where we were in the hotel was like a walkway between the hotel and the dining room, or like a restaurant. So, and it had like a long table there, and I'm on one side, she's on the other side, and a couple other colleagues were just sort of waiting and sitting at another chairs. So all of a sudden, people started lining up, thinking that I'm reading cards for them. And so, so I'm wondering why the hallway's getting crowded. You know what I mean? And people are giving her the look like, move on, ladies, time for us to get our session. And you know what I mean? And then so she said, well, just you got to read everybody then. So I just, so I did the trick that Tony taught me. Don't look at the person, have them take a seat. Sometimes they would have a question. I don't want too much chatter. I want to connect with source
Mm-hmm.
and hear your higher self with my higher self. And let's go. And then, I mean, sometimes I do have a question or two, but usually I just sit down and let me see what I see. It's like see and say, see and say.
Mm. I love that. Will you pull a card for all of us?
Oh, I would love to pull a card for everyone.
Yeah, like what? Because like right now for me, like I felt like that. So this week, Venus and Mars met up in Aquarius for the first time in a long time, and they were carrying that energy of Pluto,
Mm-hmm.
which is what is this unearthing for us that needs to be brought into our attention for
Right.
healing. And tomorrow's a full moon in Virgo, so about routines, rituals, health, all of that kind of stuff. Organization, bring order
Mm-hmm.
to chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some big, and Mercury's now in Pisces. So
Mercury's in Pisces. How is that for Mercury? Is that a comfortable place for
no,
Mercury? Or is it
Mercury's a
detriment?
detriment
It's a detriment.
and fall in Pisces. It doesn't like to be
I
swimming
didn't
because
think it
Mercury
would.
wants to speak and communicate,
Mercury's
and
air. It's air. That's
it's
right.
air, and Pisces is water, and the water signs are mute. So think about when you go underwater and you try to talk, no one can
Mm-hmm.
understand you.
Mm-hmm.
So people with Mercury and Pisces find different ways of communicating. I mean,
Yeah.
some of them have the most amazing.
Hmm.
It's like they go through a different thought process to
Yes.
come out with what they're saying. Yeah.
And that's good because I think oftentimes we use this too much and we
Mm-hmm.
don't do enough thinking or enough sitting in silence or sitting with it. So let me
Mm-hmm.
pull a card and see what we come up with here. Everyone be thinking about what we need to know as the collective, and since we're in that Aquarian space right now. Hmm. Ah, well, the card says passion for purpose.
I love that. Look at that.
So,
Wow.
oh, here, let's do this
It
one so you can
almost
see it. Passion.
looks like a
Yeah,
vagina.
has
And
the and she's in a swirl, so it's almost like
mm-hmm.
a Sufi energy also.
Mm-hmm.
And I think passion for purpose. Right now, I'm getting the sense that, and I like the red. Well, it's sort of like not a red, sort of red pinkish kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and that's why it's the passion, but also speaks to earth and also the fire. So we're being put through the fire right now. We've been put through the fiery furnace since 2023, since 2020. And I think right now the fires are still burning. If we have Mars and Venus active, we still have the fires. That's still that kind of energy, especially Mars. And I think it's giving us the purpose to know that we have the tenacity and the ability to actually make it through this transformational space that we're in right now.
And you know what? My podcast this week is called the Celestial Insights
Yes,
Podcast, available wherever you listen.
yes,
It's called Creative Alchemy, because I
yes.
think this week with the Mars and Venus coming together, where the sun is in Pisces and now Mercury, Pisces is very creative energy. It's fertile. Yeah, and Mars and Venus, like that can be like feeling driven, Mars to
Mm.
create beauty and art and things, Venus. Abundance, yeah.
And I'm so glad,
Blessings, all the
yeah.
but
I'm glad you
mm,
mentioned creativity because that's a wonderful space for us to enter into when we are going through all these earthly challenges. Is to actually reclaim some of your creative joys, the things that we put aside to work and raise families and pay mortgages. We often don't give enough attention to or time to our creative endeavors, and we are all creators and creative.
mhm.
And
Whatever.
it's a wonderful way to connect with the divine. You know, your north star when you do some creative work. Well, I don't care if it's a little bit of oil, a little bit of watercoloring, a little bit of creative movement, a little chanting, dancing, something that is not again not using the voice not so much, more using the vastness of spirit that we have.
Yeah, dancing with the Pisces energy is wonderful. I was dancing around my house by myself last night. Yes, I was.
Well, you know, it's Friday night, and I like even the song you put on for this. For the it's I could do magic, and I said, "Oh, Selas is telling everybody my business. I love magic, and I love that song." You know what I mean? So, but dancing is, yeah, I think part of why we're sort of blocked right now, actually, because I don't know about your generation. You're younger than me. We danced a lot coming up. It was always going to a dance. Even older people, like, my parents would have company friends over, and they would dance. They would play music, dance, and have a couple of drinks. And it's such a nice way to move your body, and because that keeps you in the flow of life when you're moving your body too. You get some things out of yourself.
Yeah, my parents had, they played cards, bid
Like
whist
big whist,
and
me too.
pinochle.
Yes,
But
yes,
I have
exactly.
loved to dance my whole life.
Yeah,
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to go out every weekend dancing,
yeah.
and I used to dance for exercise until the pandemic. And I
Really?
miss it. Yeah, because
Okay.
then the gym shut down.
When
Yeah, people are
yeah,
loving the positive, loving energy is needed so much today, says Tara Love. Uh, People like chanting and dancing. Imagine, yeah, we are all creators and creative, Lynn says. Yeah.
yeah, we
Lisa,
are.
Lisa has to go edit. Hello, Virgo Moon.
What did she say? She has to go
She has to
edit.
go edit something.
Oh,
Virgo, the editor. Yeah, the full moon in Virgo. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, Nina has her Venus in Virgo.
all right.
So Nina may be becoming aware. Full moons
Mm-hmm.
bring our conscious awareness to the things. Oh, can I tell you something? And
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can pull a card for me, Gemma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I had an epiphany last night. I have my South Node in Virgo in my
Okay.
third house and my North Node in Pisces in my ninth house. And so this full moon is within 5 degrees of my South Node. And
Okay.
I'm like, I need to, and I've been working so much. I like last night I hit a wall, and it's like, I need to elevate myself, I feel like, and get a little out of the details and the
Yes,
facts, which are beautiful,
they
but
are.
more spending
Yes.
time talking about the wisdom, the
Mm-hmm.
Pisces nature
Yeah.
of the astrology that I
Yeah.
share, because I sometimes had an epiphany. I sometimes get too steeped in the details,
You
and I gotta.
the Virgo. Yeah, you
mm,
can't help that with the Virgos. Yeah.
mm.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm changing my program on Monday to be more like I think I'm gonna teach about like an aspect every week or a
Hmm.
sign, and like really let us feel into this and how we're gonna watch it show up in our life or something like that. I'm gonna do
Excellent.
this like creative rework
Yes.
of my
Yes.
Celestial Insights Instagram program.
Because
What do
I'm
you?
having to do all of that. But one thing that came up for me for you right now, I just got something. Do you chant at all? Chant any sacred something? There's a wonderful
No,
singer, but she's uh, her name is Deva Premal, Deva. That's her first name,
okay.
and then Premal. I'll put in the comments here too. And she, um, I found out about her many years ago at a wonderful um, shop called East West Books. Many people would know, used to be East West Books. David Premal. And she has, I think it's the Essence. It's one of her CDs that's really fabulous. So this guy, we were in it was a small New Age bookshop, and we're moving around the bookshop, and they're playing her music. And it had a little, those days they had the CD listening station, so we go closer. This guy and I were next to each other, just leaning in to listen to it, and just taking our hearts. So I bought the CD, came home, put in my little CD player, and I haven't stopped learning from how the transformative beauty of singing the chants. And these are ancient Sanskrit chants.
Mm.
And she has a voice that's pitch perfect. I heard her, of course, in concert, but I heard her at a hotel. They don't have good acoustics at a hotel. She sounded the same way she does on her CD. She sounded the same way in the hotel. I was with Adrian, one of my friends. So Adrian, who was actually at the next the iteration of East West as a crystal buyer. So David Primal, what I'm getting for you is singing. Oftentimes we have to bring, how we say we speak our world into being. Sometimes we have to chant and helps that energy come and improves your voice. My voice has gotten better speaking and singing because her chants aren't just, you don't just chant like boom, 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 boom. You sing them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and she has a wonderful alto voice. So it's, and then she gives you the liner notes and everything. I would, just something to think about.
I love
yeah.
that. You know what? I love Trevor Hall's music, and he has this song called I Have Everything I Need.
Yes.
And that's one of my favorite songs of his. I should speak it out loud when it's
Speak
on.
it out loud. Yes.
And I'll look up this Diva Naval. Oh, and K Ward saying breath work and chanting.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I'll work on that. Yeah, mantras. I need to do my mantras.
They have some nice mantras. I mean, we know a lot of them. I shouldn't say we know Om Mani Padme Om, but even that one, the way she sings it, it brings me to tears. It's just beautiful, and it's very simple ones, but even playing them in the background. But I was on the subway one time, and Om Asatoma, Asatoma, is one about definitely one about transition for sure. And I was on, I guess, coming from downtown, coming from the village, and on my way back up to Harlem. And I'm just, Om Asatoma Satgamaya, Toma Soma Joitia Gamaya. So I was just singing that to myself, because I'm on a long subway ride. This woman got on the subway, and she's holding the pole. She heard me, and she looked at me like, and I nodded at her like, if you know it, sing it with me. We started singing, not so loud that we were like, buskers, but a lot of us, so people they turned around and looked at us. And you could tell everyone just sort of like, oh, thank you. The whole car just melted into that, because it's a transition. It's about movement. And actually, the chant is about transition from life to death and other things, other transitions, from birth to adulthood. Just great transitions. But that was a wonderful subway moment to have a stranger.
That sounds wonderful.
And we started singing together. So then let me pull a card for you let's see what this is. Hold on. Now, what am I pulling? What do you want to know?
Like guidance about moving from the mundane to the spiritual.
Yes.
That I'm on the right path with it, or anything else that comes up. Yeah, I think that you telling me to chant, I think there's definitely something there for me.
Look at this. Divine Mother Manifest.
Ooh!
Divine Mother Manifest. Now, there is a booklet. There's a booklet that goes with this that explains a little bit more. Did you want me to get that?
Oh, if it's easy, if it's right there. If not,
it is right here. I think it's on my dining room table. Here, hold up a second.
I love that Divine Mother Manifest. That seems so in line with the Venus-Mars conjunction in Aquarius, the sign of the collective. Yeah, and what I want to share with my audience in a way that can connect with people. One of the things I'm thinking, it will help me if I get more, move from the Virgo to the Pisces, help people learn like a deeper level of astrology.
Yes.
And not the technical, but like the meaning behind it and such.
Right.
Thank you, Jasmina.
And I think right now, I'm so glad you brought that up, that there's something that I think all of us are looking to ways for, even those of us who have a spiritual practice. When I ask my clients, or those who are anyone typically, but anyone especially who's considering becoming my client, do you have a spiritual practice? And I don't mean you have to go through and hit the gongs and spend 3 hours a day doing it, but do you have something that takes you away from the mundane, from the everyday, to the sacred?
Lately, I've been using this Open app, and every day I listen to they've got 4 different things. Like they have a meditation, a breath work, a sound healing. I love sound healing.
Sound healing is excellent.
And a movement practice. I haven't done the movement yet. I need to try it.
Good.
But I love Yoga Nidra. I love this.
Yes.
This is
Yoga
how
Nidra is good.
And get
I call
myself.
it sacred. I mean, I studied Tai Chi for years. I mean, really for years. And I do Qigong now. And I tell folks, Tai Chi is a little bit more complex. In other words, it has certain movements and you need to do them a certain way. But I have forgotten some of the detail, or the detail part of it. But I remember the movements and the fluidity of it. And I do that. Sometimes when I'm listening to music or I'm playing, I like hand pan. Hand pan music. I'm playing it now. Hold on. I played all the. It's very, and you can see.
Yeah.
I turned it off.
It's called hand pan?
Yeah, hand. Oh, let me take this off. Hand pans. It's the kind of it's the instrument. The instruments are hand pans, and pretty much every time people hear this, I'm on the phone with them. They're saying, not even paying me any attention.
Hand pans.
Hand pans. On YouTube.
Okay.
And this music is so it provides to me it's almost like a B-roll. It provides a background, but also touches with your spirit. So you could it's so because it doesn't have any words. There's no talking. But I had your page. Hold on a minute.
Dion has one, and she says it's hypnotic.
It's hypnotic, but it's definitely okay. It's called Divine Mother Manifests. Okay, let me get a light here. Wow. Oh, this is wonderful. Look, this oracle comes to you via the sacred grace and mercy of the Divine Mother, who is the great manifesting expression of divinity. All that is created, all that is made manifest, without exception, flows from her being. This is why it is safe to trust in life, even more especially the inexplicable mystery and even the darkness that may give rise to fear and judgment within us. It is all part of her unfathomable workings.
Wow. I love that. Okay. Yeah. Divine Mother.
Here's the deck, so we can see the deck.
Oh, it's a Rumi oracle by what's that person's name?
Let's see. Oh, Alana Fairchild. ALAN.
Oh, Alana Fairchild. I've heard of her. Okay, I don't have any of her decks. Okay.
Yeah, I love. I forgot. I'm a Rumi. I like Rumi.
Oh, I love Rumi, and Rumi's poetry is so. I mean, the wisdom.
Yes.
And like the little sprinkles of just a few words.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for that. That is so. Yeah, that is so wonderful.
Card. Look at that. That's a beautiful card.
It's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I love the colors. I love everything about it.
Yes.
And with a full moon in Virgo, going from the mundane, and the full moon wants us to release things. So release some of the mundane.
Release. Yes.
And like our nervousness and our worry about worldly affairs, and reach towards the sun in Pisces with, a spiritual practice and a spiritual. Oh, I love this. Yeah, this is what we all should be thinking about.
And breathing, when I was taking Tai Chi, there's the teacher, but there was a student teacher who would work with the new students, right? And he would say to me, because I'm a notorious non-breather back then, I would just hold my breath and do everything. We, especially women, we have a tendency to do a shallow breath. We take a breath, and then we don't breathe again. Yes, we don't breathe again. So we're doing the movements, and he'd say, "Are you breathing, JeMaja? JeMaja, you're not breathing." And And I get so mad. I say I come from a long line of non-breathers. You know what I mean?
I'm a
And stuff, but I learned.
non-breather. I'll
Yes.
catch
And even to this day,
myself. It's like I'm holding my breath for.
yes,
Why do
yes.
we do that?
I don't know. I think it's because we have the wonder, the what's next. Let me just hold. You know, we don't trust. I think it's a lack of trust, a basic trust at times. Is there, is there enough for me? That's just what I'm getting. Is there enough for me? Or what's coming next? What's coming next? So to this day, he'll send me little notes every once in a while. Good morning. Are you breathing? How are you breathing? You know, so how are you breathing? So when people call me and they're having a rough time, rough spot, I say, are you breathing? And this is just, I go, yeah, well, that's a good point. So you're breathing, so we can work from there. But now, how are you breathing? Are you taking a full breath? You ever take a full breath and you get that, because your lungs are saying, thank you, we haven't breathed into them fully. So you have that little waver, that little light flutter. It's because you're not fully breathing. When you inhale, you should really see your stomach. You know, you're doing a deep inhalation, your stomach should sort of pooch out a little bit. And then when you exhale, typically through the mouth, through the mouth, inhale through the nose, you should then push your stomach in and to really release.
I feel better already. The breath is the most powerful tool to
Yes,
calm our nervous systems. And I find myself shallow breathing all the
all the
time.
time. You know, I studied
And
yoga years ago. I
Taro and
studied
Love
yoga.
said she
What's she
holds
say?
her breath through her whole yoga class. So, this is
Yeah,
such a wonderful reminder for
reminds
all
us to
of
breathe.
us
Yes,
to
yes,
breathe.
to breathe.
Yeah.
Well, there's this thing called the breath. Oh, I want my teacher. I had a yoga teacher, and he's an MD, but also a dedicated yogi. And he taught us the smile breath. And I can go through it really quickly here
Yes,
with everyone.
please teach us a smile
The smile
breath.
breath. So typically you're sitting down. Make sure your feet are on the ground, you know, flat on the floor. If you can, you're laying down, that's fine. But if you're seated, make sure your feet are down, not crossed. And now, so as you take your inhale through the mouth. I'm sorry, inhale through the nose. Sorry, inhale through the nose. And as you're exhaling, you take a little pause. And as you're exhaling, you lower the shoulders, lower the neck, and smile. We inhale through the nose again. We bring our head up gently, inhaling through the nose. We're holding it for a couple of beats, comfortable beats. And as we exhale, we're dropping the shoulders, releasing that tension, releasing the neck, letting our head just gently drop down and smile. A nice light smile. And you do that a few times.
Mm.
And it just helps you, just so, because it's sort of one that brings you back to earth. And you remember the smiles. Usually it's not, at first it feels like a forced smile, yes. But just do a light smile. Because you're smiling, you got to smile at your inner self, and you're smiling at the earth to say thank you. It's very grounding and centering.
It is. I love this. And it made me happy. Look
It
at me
makes you
now. I can't
happy. Yes,
stop smiling.
yes, yes. Because one, your brain's happy because it's getting some oxygen, for crying out loud. Your brain's like, thank you.
My brain really appreciates
Yes, yeah.
the oxygen.
I don't know why we starve ourselves of the basics, you know. And one of my main instructor for my metaphysical healing, he always said, you know, when you have new clients, I have to ask them the basics. How are you eating? Are you eating well? Are you getting enough rest? How's your water intake? Let's go over the breathing. Because everything, I don't care what I do, how many magic wands I wave, how many pendulums I use, you know, how many teaching instructions, insight I give you. If your basics, if your foundation needs a little help, we have to start there.
Yeah, and this full moon is really a great time. Virgo rules and all earth signs, routines and rituals.
Oh, excellent.
So, and Pisces, I think of as like the sleep hygiene as well.
Yes. The sleep,
So,
yes.
like the
Yes.
rest, the mental rest,
Yes.
and the food and the habits. Yeah. These are all things we should be thinking about with this full moon.
You know, like let's see, like, you know, gratitude, you know, that's something too, to even say thank you. You know, just sometimes certain things that come up, certain, you know, little things. I'll ask a question and say, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna figure out how to do this. and sure enough, someone will call me or tell me, or I'll see some type of direction as I'm walking on the street, and I'll say thank you to the universe, because you get more insight and more connection, and you can hear your guides or hear your inspiration is clear. It's just like, thank you for little things, and then the bigger things come. So we went over that. Create sacred space, and even in your home. I don't care if you have a huge home, small place. Create a sacred space that's with your little, your little rocks or pebbles or things that you brought home from a vacation or someone gave you that make you happy, that make you smile. Create a little space that you can go to and sit and be. You can play a little music or whatever it is, but to have that in your home, when you can go there for solace and succor.
Yes.
Let's see
Yeah.
what
Oh, people
else.
are loving this, JeMaja. Yes. Yes. So
So yeah,
thankful. Yeah. And they love that wonderful smile
the
practice.
smile practice. It's just a you know, um, years ago when I was a young lady, which seems like it's Carl Sagan billions of years ago, but I talked to my girlfriend because we would get up in the morning. We were hard scrabbled, didn't have much money, so we get up in the morning and we had those old fashioned phones, the princess phone with the push
Oh,
buttons. So
yeah.
remember those? So I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be like, I turn over and see, okay. I'd pick up the phone to see if I had dial tone. I could see the light on the phone. I said, okay, I got dial tone. So I have phone service. They didn't cut me off yet. I have lights because the light's still on in the phone. And then I go outside and say, okay. And then they come get my car. You know what I mean? So that was what I called the 3-point check. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And we would laugh. So my friends would say, I did my 3-point check and I passed. Phone's on. You know what I mean? I got the light. So even for ourselves, do a 3-point check in the morning. How am I breathing? Midday, how am I breathing? How's my battery? How's my internal battery? Am I powered up, or do I need to get powered up? You know, how am I moving? You got your car outside, but how are you moving? How are you moving through the world? Do you need some? Are you moving? Are you shaky? If you are, that's fine. Then pull over. You may need something. So it's important to do that 3-point check. Because we all have those things where, we have those off. Right now with all this transformation and change and energy coming on the planet from the cosmos. Oh yeah, we're gonna be off. We're gonna be put off at times. We'll be ungrounded, off center, and sometimes both. So that 3-point check, if you're feeling it, then just stop a minute and you could be in a meeting and just watch your breathing. You could do a modified version of it. Tap your feet sometimes. It's good to tap your feet on the ground to let yourself know, I'm still on this earth. And there's a place for me on the earth. I'm still part of earth. There's a place for me here. When you feel
I
shaky,
love that.
you have to let the earth know I'm still here, because this is something told to me by one of my shaman instructors many years ago. He said, when babies are conceived, the earth, Mother Earth knows like, oh, okay, I have to make space for Celeste. She's coming in soon. And so once you're born, your grounding cord, which we all have, that we have that cord, we can't see it, but we need to connect it to Mother Earth. But when you're born, that cord is in the earth. And she's like, okay, Celeste is here. And usually it's deep into the earth, into the core. And we're very grounded as babies and centered. It's only when we grow older and we just don't nourish that grounding cord, we don't intentionally become aware of it and nourish it, that it sort of pulls off. So a lot of us are walking around and our grounding cord's up in the air. You know what I mean? It hasn't been in the earth in a while. So you need to sit with that stillness and picture that grounding cord coming out from your first chakra, your root chakra, that area, and nourish it and get conscious of it, be aware of it, and see and send it down to the earth, because the earth wants to feel you. She wants your presence. You are wanted here, and she can nourish you and take that stress and anxiety if she has that connection, and then also send you, that health and greenness and that refreshing energy.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes, we are dropping our cords, our grounding cords. We are breathing. This is so beautiful for upcoming full moon in Virgo with the sun in Pisces. And we all should be like settling down and releasing things, because Aries season is going to be very chaotic.
It is.
Destabilizing if we let it. So making sure we're grounded, because the eclipses are coming.
I forgot about that. The eclipses are coming again. Okay. Just trying to turn this down so it's a little too loud. You know, these that's why I'm sort of getting on the good foot, as James Brown would say. I'm getting on the good foot right now because we have to, you know, we have a lot. I have a lot of these tools. I have a toolbox of that's just, you know, wonderful. But I forget to use some of the tools. We all forget
We
basic
all
tools.
do.
Breathing, going outside for a little walk. You know what I mean? Lighting candles or incense safely so you don't set the house on fire. You know, drinking enough water. You know, just basic stuff. Having a little fun. You know, not watching the news. Knowing how to turn the news off. You know how to watch a comedy show. You know, something that makes you laugh out loud. That gets you, that tickles you. You know, so and that's a wonderful form of release when you have a good laugh. You know, all the chakras just go when you have a good laugh. You know what I mean? Because they just open up and release, and then okay, we're clear. You know, so you know, one thing that this borders on the, you know, there's such thing as we know personal hygiene, but we have spiritual hygiene that we have to be aware of also. You know, who we, you know, when we coming off the street and we've been with people, family, friends, colleagues, you know, sometimes we have to in real time, especially, know how to not be so spongy, to absorb everything. It's okay to intentionally say, "Oof, here comes Missy again." To, you know, you got to know to, that's not for me.
Yeah,
Know how to,
knowing when, like protecting your
when
energy. That's
to
another
protect your
thing.
energy.
Saturn
Yes.
and Pisces, protect your
Energy.
spiritual energy.
Yes. Because many times we're so receptive and we, you know, curious or whatever, but we have to know, okay, nope, and you have to sort of like do that tighten up. You got to say, you know, not that, not that. You know, we are in control of ourselves. We just have to actually exert that control of ourselves.
I love that. Oh my God. This conversation has been so wonderful. I want everyone to, you could just click the carrot and follow either JeMaja or whoever you're new to, and tell everybody your how to reach you and anything you have coming up.
I do have something interesting coming up. One, I have to apologize now, but I'm updating my website. One thing the information is accurate. You'll see my prom picture, which means I look like 20 years younger because I think I was. So it looks a little different, but and I'm changing a little bit of some of the services I offer, but it's still a website, JeMajaTheAlchemist.com. You can always reach me. I forgot what email I used for. I think it was JeMajaTheAlchemist
at Gmail. I think that's
Gmail.
And I'll put it in the link to the show notes.
Okay, great. And but this coming Thursday, Sebastian and I, we had these wonderful conversations like this, and we're doing a series of talks on Instagram Live, entitled "Making It Through." Oh, sorry, hold on a minute. Making it through the what do we give a name to? Hold on a minute. It's called "Making It Through the In Between Time," because I call this right now what we're going through is the in between time. So I'll do a preamble going over. I'll be borrowing generously from you, Charity of the Gods, and many other astrologers to explain the current cosmic situation and where we are in that thing, and why we're feeling this, why we're going through this right now. And then going over, that's part one. We're doing a 3-part series, and part two will probably be some more what I call rules of the road, how to travel with it, how to get through it. And then session 3, we haven't figured out what yet, but it may be a combination of Q&A or questions or different things that people want to know or having challenges with. You know, may invite someone like you to join to help us explain, to navigate especially before the eclipse season, especially before the eclipses.
Let me know.
I would love to have you do that. Yes, because the eclipses always get me a little bit hinky feel. I'm like, oh no, the eclipse is coming again.
And it's conjunct Chiron, so you work with Chiron. So it's Chiron. That Chiron, the sun, and the moon are all at 19 Aries on April 8th. So now it's going to be a big one, and it's going right through the United States. Yeah, it's big. I wonder if there's going to we'll talk about it later, but I've got some ideas about what may be coming.
Now, so for those of us to find perhaps certain potential impacts in our chart, should we look at where 19 degrees falls in our chart?
Look at 19 degrees, specifically 19, most impactful will be 19 degrees Aries, use plus or minus 5 degrees on either side.
Right.
So from 14 to
23,
whatever, 24.
24.
I can't even
Yeah.
add.
I hope my sister's not watching this. If my sister sees this, she'll laugh.
That's a conjunction.
Okay.
So conjunctions merge the energy. If you have something around that in Libra, that's the opposition. It may be coming in from someone outside of yourself. It may not be you. It may be someone else. The squares would be Cancer and Capricorn. Right. So I've got 20-degree Cancer rising. So, I mean, I think I know a lot of my story, but eclipses bring things. Yeah. And any of the fire signs, so Leo, Sagittarius, there's a trine that is a smooth flowing energy. So notice what new starts around Aries topics about the self, taking risks, being competitive or engaging in conflict, these kind of things. Yeah, watch out for that. And like, make sure it's healthy conflict or conflict worth having. Do not get in a fight with
I like that.
Someone you don't even know over nonsense around this time, because it can be like, it can go really sideways really quickly. The air signs in terms of, so for Gemini and the other in Aquarius, it's a sextile, so there could be some opportunities kind of things. And for Virgo and Scorpio, it's a quincunx, so there could be a health aspect to it. So if anything comes up with your health, go straight to the doctor.
150 degrees.
150 degrees. The quincunx. Yes. That could be a health aspect. That doesn't have to be, but it could be.
It could be. And that's one of those things when you sense, should I go to the hospital? Yes. Should I go to the emergency? Yes. You know what I mean? Don't second guess yourself.
Around.
Just go. Don't fool around. Get it checked out, you know? So, okay. No, I think we're, you know, I'm so glad you mentioned. I think I would love to have us do something with the eclipse season. I'll invite you on my show, and we can talk about something. Yeah. Because I, you know, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. You know, if we just know something, you know, about, let's say it won't necessarily mitigate or so much look at the potential, good or for bad or whatever, but to know that, okay, this is the area of potentiality of what could be happening. And here's the vibe, the flow, what the feel could be, you know, the lay of the land, you know, so, because I have a feeling if that eclipse is going through the country, the first one is always the solar eclipse. It's first.
No, it's the lunar comes first. So there'll probably be an event around March 25th with the lunar eclipse at 5 Libra in the 10th house of the United States, if we look at the United States Sibley chart. Yes. So there could be some big event around then as well.
And the 10th house represents the 10th house is the 10th house is
the president, the authorities, all that kind of stuff. In our own life, it's the mother, it's our boss, it's our career status, reputation.
Right. Yes. It's the midheaven house. It's the
midheaven. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Yes. No, that song, This Joint is Jumping. That's why I feel like that should be the theme song for this year. This joint is jumping.
It is. It is. It's very active.
Honestly. Oh, I need this like I need a hole in the head right now. But anyhow, I got so much going on. It's like, you know what I mean? So, thank you so much for having me on your show, Celeste. I really enjoyed our session today, and I definitely enjoyed our session, which I need to replay my notes. Because you gave me specific things to sort of like be aware of to, you know.
Yeah. It was such a pleasure talking to you today and when you came for a reading. And and I look forward to coming on your show.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. I mean, you dropped so many pearls. I'm going to make you what do you call it? A collaborator. So if you want to accept it, it'll go onto your wall.
Okay.
I'll also upload this to my YouTube channel too, because this was such a great conversation. Excellent.
So enjoyed this. It was magical. You picked the right song. It was magical.
I did.
The energy feels so supportive.
For you.
Because I like Friday. You know, Venus to me Friday is Venus's day, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I always like Friday has that Venus that love feel, that feel of love
Mm-hmm.
and support.
Oh, Patty says the session was the ish. Yes, people were saying they loved it. They loved it, loved it. Okay, well,
Okay,
you take good care
so,
and we'll be in touch.
okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
You will have a great weekend, everyone, and happy full moon.
Happy full moon. Yes.